Ladies and gentlemen, this is the value of wrestling, where we vow to put the value back into wrestling. And it is time for another episode of for another episode of Big Time Rants here on the Value of Wrestling YouTube channel. I thank you for tuning in and joining us on this somber Friday. The wrestling world seems to be a little flipped upside down. And of course, this Big Time Rants is not going to be your typical Big Time Rants. I really don't have a whole lot to rant on this week. But more or less, I think we need to pay homage here. Tragic news that has shook the wrestling community the last few days. Let's get on the screen here. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Big Time. Live from my studio right at the moment. Of course, this is recording, so you're not going to be live with me. But I've been contemplating doing this. I'm working on several other things that are going on right now. Behind the scenes here at the Value of Wrestling. All In coming up on Sunday morning. Definitely getting ready for that pay-per-view. Me and my partners here at the Value of Wrestling will be doing a podcast after All In at some point. We'll be recording the Fallout and possibly bringing you a new program to the Value of Wrestling. Before we get started, let me just do some basic house cleaning. If you haven't, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button below. It helps us grow. Go ahead and hit like. Ring that bell for notifications so when new videos do come out, you are alerted and know. Because we want you to know when we put out new content like this. Because we don't know when we're going to record videos. And our company editor takes some time, so we don't know exactly when every video is going to come out. This is Friday, August 25th. I can't promise you it's coming out the day of, but we have a great editor who takes care of us and makes sure things get out as quickly as they can. Also, we have the Value of Wrestling on Spotify with Miguel. Right now, he's covering everything New Japan Pro Wrestling. He was going over the G1 Climax. Definitely our man who's all about the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling. We also have on the Spotify, he did a salute to, in the memory of Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt. Also here on the YouTube platform, we did our own 10 bell salutes to both men. So definitely check out those videos if you are fans. If you're a fan of pro wrestling, you should respect both these men. Both these men were iconic legends and game changers in the world of professional wrestling. It's a heartbreaking day. It's a heartbreaking couple of days. Wednesday, the 23rd of August, 2023, the world was told that the passing of the hardcore icon, the true hardcore icon, not to discourage anything from Mick Foley, because Mick Foley is up there, but the hardcore icon himself, Terry Funk, passed away. Terry Funk, I believe, was 79 years old and had a career that expanded through wrestling for over 50 years. Funk was part of the All Japan Pro Wrestling, ECW, better known as Extreme Championship Wrestling, the International Wrestling Association of Japan, Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling, the United States Wrestling Association, the World Championship Wrestling, the World Wrestling Federation, the National Wrestling Alliance, the WWE. He was part of Championship Wrestling from Florida, Georgia Championship Wrestling, Stampede Wrestling. He was a promoter of his own wrestling organization based out of Amarillo. I believe he did some time in AWA. I mean, he was all over the place, doing it all. A major star in the 70s to 80s, throughout the 80s, and then really brought his career back to life in the 90s with ECW. It's crazy to think everything he's accomplished in his tenure. He was a NWA World Heavyweight Champion. He was a USWA Unified World Heavyweight Champion. He was a Tag Team Champion in WWF, which we now know as WWE. He was an ECW World Champion and an ECW Television Champion. He's been inducted to many Hall of Fames, including WWE, WCW, NWA, and Hardcore Wrestling. Terry Funk and his brother Dory Funk Jr. were originally a tag team that broke onto the scene. So, Terry Funk's career was just amazing, and you can go anywhere, YouTube, the WWE Network, you can find matches and matches of Terry Funk and his incredible skills and what he brought to the world of professional wrestling. He starred in several films, from Paradise Alley to Over the Top, which was a great movie. If you haven't seen Over the Top, go back and watch that old 1987 movie. Time Stalkers. He was in Roadhouse. Mom Can I Keep Her? He appeared in Beyond the Mat. He was also in Friday Night Lights. He was in The Ringer. He appeared on several different television shows, including Swamp Thing, Quantum Leap, The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr., Thunder in Paradise, Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction, and of course he was on The Dark Side of the Ring. Multifaceted, many great things to say about Terry Funk. Now, unfortunately, I probably got into pro wrestling in the later 80s, probably right after WrestleMania 1, and started getting into wrestling. And so Terry Funk was kind of in a mid of his career. I can't really say the twilight because he blew it up in the 90s in ECW. Of course, I lived out here on the West Coast, so we didn't really have too much access early on to ECW when Terry Funk was there. I did get to see him when he returned to WWF, WWE as Chainsaw Charlie, eventually becoming Terry Funk. But I've definitely went back and watched several things on Terry Funk. And he was an amazing talent, a once-in-a-generational talent that has been respected by his peers around the world, and was an amazing talent. And it was such a sad loss to see the hardcore icon pass away. But Terry Funk will be remembered forever. I mean, his name is synonymous with hardcore wrestling. He had brilliant matches with Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair, and of course Mick Foley, at times Cactus Jack, and different names. And several other great matches. Had an extended great run in ECW. Really helped give ECW that extreme place in the world of professional wrestling at the time. So I definitely implore you to go research, go do, look into some Terry Funk videos and watch Terry Funk matches from all these different places. They were just good matches. Him and his brother had good things. He was good on the mic. He was a talent beyond. And if you only know him really as his hardcore, as older, when he was older, Terry Funk in his later years, you really got to go see the man in his younger years, in the beginning of his career, because he was a top-notch, one-of-a-kind talent that definitely changed the landscape of professional wrestling. I mean, would we have the hardcore wrestling that we have if it weren't for names like Terry Funk? Terry Funk was definitely a leader in that, and he had several great matches in Japan that you can go look at. He was one of a few. He was a breed of a special kind of pro wrestler. Again, just a generational talent, and Terry Funk was an amazing talent, was just incredible. And, we here at the VOW Wrestling send our thoughts and prayers, our well wishes. We acknowledge this time that the family is definitely, it's a hard time. There's a lot of emotions. And we wish our best for the family and friends of Terry Funk, along with all the fans. Because even though we may not know these people on a one-on-one basis, maybe they're not family, maybe they're not friends, maybe we've never met these people, we've just watched them on TV and enjoyed all the ability and what they brought to the ring, their charisma, their talent, these larger-than-life sports athletes that have given to us, the fans, everything in the spirit of exciting us and making us boo or cheer for him. We still feel the loss. And as you get older, you understand loss a little better. And then when you've even been affected personally by loss, you realize just how short life can be and how we can easily take things in this world for granted too quickly, and that there's ultimately always going to be one winner in that the end, and that's Father Time. That we all will have to face that match, and there's no win for us when that time comes. And so I implore you to go enjoy some Terry Funk matches, and then just spend time with family, friends, people you love, people that are important to you, that feel that you're important, and just spend that time. If you have family, if you have parents that are alive, that you're still connected to, give them a call. Grandparents, brothers, sisters. If you've had estranged relationships, maybe now is the time that you can reach out and reconcile those relationships, because life's just too short for things to fester and lose time we have, because we never know when our internal clock is going to stop, and our last breath. It's unpredictable, and we've got to enjoy the time and feel blessed in the time we have here. Now, Terry Funk's passing was just it was hard. It shook the wrestling community for sure. And then we got hit yesterday. I think it was almost like a punch in the gut. We were going through the passing of Terry Funk. In of course, Terry Funk being 79, we somewhat expect, we expect it. It's not as surprising. It's still sad, and it's a great loss to the wrestling world. But when we get hit yesterday, August 24th, with the news mid-afternoon that we had lost Wyndham Rotunda, better known to the wrestling world as Bray Wyatt, I definitely think it sent a shock, a thunderous shock to the wrestling community, because you don't expect these things. He was 36 years old, and for me, I mean, that just, you get to a certain age, and when you hear these things, you're like, wow, life is short. Life can be gone in a twinkle of an eye, and it's just such a tragedy. And I love Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt was a once-in-a-generational talent when he finally found his place in the wrestling world, and he just came out with like in a ruthless aggression. He just came out with no abandonment. He dove into these different characters. He brought us the slight different variants, really, and just captivated the minds and hearts and souls of the people. He was a heel that was getting cheered, and that's an incredible talent, to be able to be a heel and still get cheered. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody can play that role and get people, when you're playing the ultimate heel, and get cheered. But yes, and the sad news is we've been missing Bray Wyatt for a while now. His last wrestled match was at the Royal Rumble against LA Knight, and the match that a lot of people thought was, they had a lot of things to say. There was a lot of critique on the match. It may not have been it may not have been your favorite match, may not have been the best match for Bray Wyatt. Yeah, we all have different opinions. It was a match. And then when we hear the tragic news like this, we're just, kind of takes all that stuff and says, you know what, we can go back and watch it 100 times. It was a different match. It may not have been his best match, but it's definitely a match that you can go back and watch and realize that, there was a talent there. There was magic in what they were trying to do there. Unfortunately, I don't think we got to finish the story, because unfortunately Bray Wyatt was gone from wrestling right after the Royal Rumble. Initially, it was due to an injury. That injury led into other different rumors, stories, things that were coming out left and right. There was suspicion that it was an injury. There was things that were talked about possibly a mental health issue. There was even to the point that we saw Vince McMahon coming back in charge, that maybe, they were keeping Bray Wyatt off TV because they were going to let him go again. And then in the last month or so, it started spilling out that Bray Wyatt had been facing a life-threatening illness. And we didn't really get any more information than that Bray Wyatt had been facing a life-threatening illness. He was battling this illness, and we sent out well wishes and our best as fans to Bray Wyatt, because we were just hoping for a speedy recovery to Bray Wyatt. We just wanted to see Bray Wyatt back in the ring. We wanted to hear what Bray Wyatt had to say, because you sat down and you tuned out everything else in the world when Bray Wyatt stood in that ring and he talked to you. When Bray Wyatt was on that mic, he captivated you. Bray Wyatt would hold you in that spot, and you hung on every words, and sometimes if it was really good, you'd get the goosebumps up and down your arms. He was that amazing talent, and he had given us this new amazing character. We had gone through Bray Wyatt, the cult leader, with the Wyatt family, to Bray Wyatt in the Firefly Funhouse, and because it evolved from Bray Wyatt, the cult leader, with Bray Wyatt, the cult leader with the Fireflies, the fans, to Bray Wyatt in the Firefly Funhouse, to the Fiend, which had given us a whole different character that a lot of people, and I think I had to say, we had a lot of high hopes for the Fiend. Unfortunately, I don't think that story played out like a lot of us wanted to, and kind of ended on a sour note, but was an incredible character, an incredible storyline, an incredible way to adapt and change a character and try to bring a new character out of you, and Bray Wyatt could do that. Unfortunately, it didn't go where it wanted, and then Bray Wyatt was released from WWE, and then shortly thereafter, he was, he was brought back into WWE, and we got this whole new Wyatt. A lot of talks about a new type of Wyatt family, the Wyatt Six. We got a lot of the great videos, the White Rabbit being played by Jefferson Airplane. We got this long built-up return in arenas across the nation. We got QR codes. We were sent on this adventure to tell us about the return of Bray Wyatt. And so we were excited. And then we got this the best thing, just the return, the door, the lights, him coming down. It was just incredible. And Bray Wyatt's always had really good theme music, which has always captured the hearts and captured the essence of who Bray Wyatt was and each element of his character. And so we got to see a lot of that, and it was just amazing. A lot of people also don't know that Bray Wyatt did break in to WWE in the developmental era of 2009, 2010. He was in developmental and was initially introduced to us as Husky Harris, alongside other Nexus members like Michael McGillicuddy, who later became Curtis Axel, and they definitely used him there. When the Nexus didn't really go, and he didn't really see anywhere to go forward, he returned to FCW to a developmental era. He tried some different characters down there until he really found his niche and the birth in 2012 of Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family, and then eventually he came out and made it to the main roster. We had all the promos introducing him, which were just amazing. It really got you into it. And then on July 8th of, I believe, 2013, he made his debut on Raw with the Wyatt family, and we were brought into a whole new world that just caught us and took us on a journey for a long time. We saw Bray Wyatt with Daniel Bryan. We saw Bray Wyatt with Randy Orton. We had the great match with Randy Orton. And then in the COVID area, the great WrestleMania match between Bray Wyatt and John Cena, and just a match that you didn't know what you were going to expect, but you got such a journey and got so much. It was a nostalgia trip in some eras, but it was just a great storytelling with the opportunity they had. We did get to see Bray Wyatt capture the WWE Championship. We saw him with the Tag Team Champions when he teamed with the Deleter of Worlds. When he was teaming with Matt Hardy, Woken Matt in WWE. And then we got the birth of the Firefly Funhouse, which was just amazing. The storyline there had so much to go on too, and it was cut so short. But what an incredible journey for Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda is his real name. He's part of the Rotunda family, which has a lengthy legacy in the world of professional wrestling, because you're talking about Wyndham Rotunda, his brother, Bo Dallas, and then I'm going to sneeze. The Rotunda family just has a legacy that goes way, way deep into the world of professional wrestling. As you know, Bo Dallas was his brother, and then Mike Rotunda, who had an extraordinary career in the world of professional wrestling, maybe more well known to the newer generation or the WWE as Erwin R. Shyster, IRS. He tagged up with him with Ted DiBiase in WWE and became Money Inc. He eventually would go to WCW, where he would be known as Michael Wall Street. I don't know if you remember that era. He did become a member of the NWO early on, but that was Mike Rotunda. And then also we can't forget Barry Windham, and the Windhams were uncles. And then you had Blackjack Mulligan, who was the grandfather of Wyndham Rotunda, Bray Wyatt. So a long family history. He was a third-generation wrestler. Just an extraordinary talent. And I really hope WWE is planning to go ahead and make sure he is inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame at WrestleMania 40, because he well deserves it. I mean, I don't think we got everything we could have out of Bray. I don't think we got to see the full heights of what we could have gotten from a Bray Wyatt, but we definitely really were privileged to have the time we had with Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt was a once-in-a-lifetime talent. He was talented in-ring ability. He was a marvelous talker. He had the charisma. He could bring you on the mic. He could capture you. He knew how to talk. He knew what to say. He was just magic on the mic. And everything he did, he just kept you captivated. I think it's one of the few reasons why we were able to see him come out as a character and then they go away and then get rebirthed as another character and get excited all over again. And then, there was disappointments in that. And then when his final return here, we were so excited for the return. We wanted to see Bray Wyatt hit that stride that we knew he had capable. A lot of people believed he could have really taken the torch from The Undertaker and taken that place in professional wrestling that The Undertaker held. And I definitely think with the right momentum and the proper pushing, he could have been a very legendary character in the WWE as high as The Undertaker. I mean, he will be a legend. He will be remembered forever. It's just unfortunately so tragic so quickly that we lost such a brilliant mind for the business. And of course, last night it was released by Sean Ross Sapp. From what he said, the family allowed him to come out and kind of clarify, so there was no misinformation, no confusion about what happened. So what we've gotten now is clarification on what was going on with Bray Wyatt. Bray had unfortunately been out of action due to COVID, which exacerbated a heart condition that was already a pre-existing issue. And unfortunately, it made COVID hit very hard, and so he was out with COVID. And of course, the last few weeks, it really seemed, from what I'm gathering, that it looked like he was making a return. He was making a recovery. He was getting cleared to return to the world of professional wrestling. And I think that's the general consensus across the boards that we've gotten as everything's come out, and we've gathered information that, Bray Wyatt was very, very close to returning to the ring. I think we were getting things in place. I think the rumors were there. I think the stories were there. We were hearing the murmurs that we were close to seeing Bray Wyatt return. I think we were all getting excited. and tragically, out of the blue, he suffered a heart attack, and that was kind of the last call, and it's just tragic. 36 years old. Um, I think he thought he was on his way to recovery. Everybody around him probably thought he was on his way to recovery, and bam. Uh, and then that's the real sadness that we have to look at and go. Sometimes we just life's too short for some of this stuff because you just never know when that moment's going to happen. You never know what'll be that thing that could just change the course and direction of where you're going forever. And it's just heartbreaking to hear such tragic news. And so that's what we have with this information is that we've lost a legendary star, a one of generational star in Bray Wyatt, and it's just so tragic at such a young age. And I know we here at the Value Wrestling want to send our well wishes, our condolences, our prayers, and all of our love to the Wyndham family, the friends, and of course we want to take this time to just embrace the fans. Again, I never got to meet Bray Wyatt personally, but he was a tremendous talent. I love Bray Wyatt, and it's just so hard to hear of his passing. And we want to send all of our well wishes, our prayers, our thoughts, our condolences to the family of Wyndham Rotunda, the Rotunda family, to Wyndham's kids, to JoJo, and to the friends, and the fans. That's why we're here, trying to give solace and remembrance to a great talent. And this is what we do as fans: is we come together and we try to celebrate and we try to remember and we try to lift up the ones we lose. And it is so hard. Recently, it wasn't that long ago with the Briscoes that we had the tragic loss in a car accident that claimed the life of Jay Briscoe. And so now we're here and we're seeing others. And of course, it was only a couple years ago that we lost Brody Lee. For WWE fans who don't know, that was Luke Harper and a very close friend to Bray Wyatt. 3 years ago, we lost Luke Harper to a very tragic same situation, just kind of very unsuspected. It just kind of happened, and it blew everybody's mind. And so, the only thing I can say is now that Brody Lee and Wyndham Rotunda are hopefully on the other side together, preparing to get into the squared circle in the sky and entertain the masses in the big auditorium in the sky, along with Terry Funk, and the list goes on and on. Just it's so hard. It was also announced that if I can get a link, I will try and drop it in the description below. But all the proceeds from the Wyatt merchandise on WWE.com will go directly to the family now. So any merchandise that is bought that is Bray Wyatt merchandise on WWE, all the proceeds are going to go directly to the family members. And WWE is trying to do everything they can to make sure they're taken care of. It's also rumored that SmackDown has pretty much been clean slated. All meetings have been canceled in WWE. They're getting ready to embrace, so I don't know what type of SmackDown we're going to get. Anything that was going on, storylines, everything else is just kind of on hold for right now, so we can celebrate Bray Wyatt. To wait to see what maybe AEW will do at All In, if they do anything. So we'll have to wait and see on a lot of those things, how that plays out. And tonight will be interesting. We have a SmackDown, supposedly. It's being rewritten. to maybe do more of a celebration of the life of Wyndham Rotunda, Bray Wyatt. So I hope, and WWE usually does, if they do something like this, they really bring the best foot forward, and it'll be a great show. And I hope we all can enjoy it and just remember Bray Wyatt and celebrate his life. I know you can go on the internet. I'm not going to come on here and drop all these tweets, X, whatever we're calling it nowadays, from several different superstars. We've heard from John Cena, Alexa Bliss, The Rock, Mick Foley. I know Booker T was doing a podcast when the news broke, and really broke live. So Booker T had a lot to say. Braun Strowman. There's so many out there, and the great thing about this is the wrestling world as a whole, from all over, not just WWE, but AEW and Impact Wrestling and New Japan, and all around the world. We've heard from wrestlers that are sending their condolences, having memories, sharing stories of time. There's a beautiful video up from Miro, known to WWE fans as Rusev, where he talks about his first time meeting Bray Wyatt, and a really great story there. So there's a lot out there. I'm not going to break it all down. If you want to go out there and look for it, it's out there. There are other video content makers that are, going over a lot of these and reading them verbatim. I'm just here to share and talk about it, because I just felt moved to come here, sit down in my studio, and go over this, because both these guys, Terry Funk, the hardcore icon, was a legend in his making, and was a great talent. And then, of course, losing somebody like Bray Wyatt at such a young age, it's a tragedy in itself, and it's just heartbreaking to hear that. But I just have to say, today is probably a day. This is a time to stop, reminisce, look at our lives. Are we taking things for granted? Because we don't know when that time's up. We don't know when the big ending's coming. And so maybe today is just a day of reflection, not just on the lives of Terry Funk and Wyndham Rotunda, but on our own lives, of understanding that life's fleeting, life's short. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. If you've ever faced the tragedy of losing someone close, or losing anyone that had some meaning to you, then you definitely know the feelings, and it's not always easy, and it's not something that's just a simple thing to get through. And we as fans, we feel the loss, but we got to just respect the family, their time, their space, and let them do what they need to do to grieve. Let's send our well wishes, our prayers, our thoughts out to them. If you check out WWE.com, let's go over there and buy as much of this Bray Wyatt merchandise. Let's see if we can sell it out, because every dollar is going to count. And I hope that we can all reflect and grow, and that's the big thing. But we have a couple videos. We have the 10-bell salute for Terry Funk. We have the 10-bell salute for Bray Wyatt up on the channel here. Go watch those. Take a moment of silence just to reminisce, remember the lives of Terry Funk, Wyndham Rotunda. And, of course, we here at the VOW Wrestling are here. We are working on a lot of new projects. I believe we should have a new project coming out for All In. It should be a spectacular program, and so we are working very hard to get that set up, so that after All In, we can bring you a awesome, amazing review that's just going to be the best. But otherwise, here, I'm the big time, and this is a rant. I know this isn't my normal type of ranting style where I'm going to discuss something, but I just felt that this is my platform, this is my place, and I just wanted to take the time to reminisce, thank Terry Funk, thank Wyndham Rotunda, Bray Wyatt for everything they gave to us as fans. Thank their families for allowing them to, do what they do, because it's not an easy life. And as an Army vet, I definitely understand that, when one of the family members is out there earning a living and they got to go away for some extended period of time, it's not always easy on the families. And we can really go back and watch a lot of documentaries and wrestling history and different footage and hear the stories about wrestlers on the road, and that their life's not, everything we may think it is. You're a young kid and you're like, I want to grow up and be a wrestler. It's just going to be amazing. But there's a lot of hard times, like Dusty Rhodes would say. There's a lot of hard times. And there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. But, we got to thank not just the superstars, but their families that have allowed them to go do this, that they're there supporting what they do. And it's an amazing thing. So, again, the Funk family, the Rotunda family, friends, fans, we are with you with our thoughts, our prayers, our well wishes during this time. We as the fans just need to embrace these families, lift them up, let them have their solitude, and continue to put content out where we remember them and embrace them, so it goes into the annals of history, that down the road the next generation can come back and watch these videos and hear our stories and hear our reflections on the lives of these great stars, these legends, these Hall of Famers, because that's all we can do. We can offer our stories and put them out there into the internet world that forever will hopefully keep them. And when generations come down the road and want to hear about who Terry Funk was or Bray Wyatt, that they will find these videos and be able to hear stories and get to know these wrestlers on so many different levels. But with that said, I'm the Big Time BT Baldwin. This is Big Time Rants. This, of course, is the Value of Wrestling. I'm going to get this over to our editor, let him get everything together, and hopefully get this. Jeez, I'm running out of time here, but hopefully get this video up and running soon. So